Well, it finally happened. James Harden has been traded. This is something that started off as rumblings following the conclusion of last season, then advanced to a full-on trade request leading up to this season. The hype for this situation died down after a while, as it was clear it wasn't going to be a simple process with the select teams he had on his list of desired destinations. But after his statements in a recent press conference, it was clear this was going to happen quickly. It was reported that the Houston Rockets were looking at two possible deals, one with the Philadelphia 76ers, headlined by Ben Simmons, and then obviously this deal with Brooklyn, which they ended up accepting. There's a lot to look at in this trade, especially with how many teams involved. So let's break down the winners and losers. But if you guys like my content, make sure you like and subscribe. Let's try to get 13 likes on today's video, and let's hop into it. Now let's start this off by looking at what everyone got in this massive deal. The Brooklyn Nets obviously got James Harden and a second-round pick. The Houston Rockets, they got Victor Oladipo, Dante Exum, Karooks, the Nets first-round picks in 2022, 2024, and 2026. The Cavaliers pick in 2020 via the Milwaukee Bucks, and first-round pick swaps with the Brooklyn Nets in 2021, 2023, 2025, and 2027. The Cleveland Cavaliers were able to get Jared Allen and Taurean Prince, and the Indiana Pacers got Caris LeVert in a second-round pick. Now, this was definitely a very interesting trade, and I don't think we have any very clear winners and losers right now. James Harden might be the most obvious winner because not only did he get out of Houston, but was able to get to one of the teams he requested. He really wasn't happy in Houston. In a recent press conference, which we mentioned, he said, "We are just not good enough. We don't obviously, chemistry, talent-wise, just everything, and that's been clear the last few games." This situation is crazy, and it's something that I don't think is going to be fixed, so thanks. Then he got up and left. For him to make a statement like that and then get traded literally the following day, I think is what he wanted out of that situation, and so he is a winner. The main team everyone wants to talk about is the Brooklyn Nets, and the opinions on this trade for them are pretty mixed. For a lot of people, this is the new super team of the league, and LeBron James fanboys are absolutely loving it, with the hopes he can add another quote-unquote super team defeat to his resume at 36 years old. But there's also a lot of people that have concerns about this team despite the offensive star power. You're pairing up three of the top offensive threats in the league, but this addition has also brought a lot of questions about their defense, ability to play off each other, depth, and off-court behavior. We all know about James Harden's childish behavior leading up to this season, hitting the club in the middle of a pandemic while teammates were preparing for this season during training camp. You pair him with Kyrie Irving, probably the most annoying player in the league in my eyes. He wins a title with Cleveland, then cries that LeBron is getting all the attention and wants to lead his own team. He then goes to Boston, where he has a stint filled with rumors of his locker room toxicity. He then decides that he actually does want to play with superstars, so he goes to Brooklyn with Kevin Durant this past season. The latest storyline in the Kyrie Irving saga is the fact that he's not been with the team for personal reasons, something that usually wouldn't be that big of a deal, but footage came out of him partying during his time off, which obviously changed the narrative. You put two guys like this on the same team, and I think it's pretty clear why people have concerns about this team beyond just a basketball fit. Now, with all this said, it's way too early to declare this team a winner or a loser. They had a chance to bring in one of the best offensive players the league has ever seen, and while they sacrificed a lot of their future, the goal is to win a championship, and this move puts them in the best position possible. Offensively, despite James Harden's laziness off the ball, I don't have a lot of concerns. The main concerns I do have are on the other end of the court, and whether or not these guys are going to be able to stay on the court. What's really going to decide whether they're a winner or loser is two things: whether or not they can win a title in this James Harden era, and two, what these draft picks end up becoming. This was the most draft compensation possible, and it's always dangerous when you're dealing with unprotected draft picks 7 years out. Kevin Durant is 32, Kyrie is 28, and James Harden is 31. Harden and KD are locked up for just one more season, Kyrie for 2. So yes, this team looks lethal for this season and next, but after that, the future is very unclear. We don't know if they're going to be able to extend these guys beyond their current contract, and even if they do, these guys aren't young, so it's hard to say what level they'll be playing at, let's say 5 years from now. Due to this, I have the Rockets emerging as winners. There was no holding on to James Harden, so with only one more year, not including his player option left on his contract, this was their last opportunity to get this kind of value. I'm a true believer of avoiding a tank as much as possible. Bringing in 4 first-round selections, 4 pick swaps, and a great player in Victor Oladipo allows this team to continue to focus on winning basketball, but also have the confidence in their future. Yes, Victor Oladipo is on the last year of his contract, but I really do like the addition. He's looked great this season, averaging 20 points, 6 rebounds, and 4 assists, another year removed from injury. This is a team that, with or without James Harden, has the potential to at least compete in the Western Conference, with the additions of John Wall, DeMarcus Cousins, and Christian Wood, who's in the middle of a breakout season. The best strategy for success, in my opinion, is to focus on winning games, focus on building the best roster possible at that moment without giving out bad contracts. It's really hard to go straight from a tank to competing for an NBA title. I think a great example of this would be the Miami Heat, who just had a trip to the NBA Finals. While I was really interested in the possibility of a deal with the 76ers that would have involved Ben Simmons, given how this current roster is constructed, I actually lean towards a draft pick haul like this. Not only is it going to continue to bring them young talent, but it also allows them a lot of trade possibilities going forward. Now, I think a strong argument could be made for the Rockets going with LeVert over Oladipo, but that's a coin toss for me. Oladipo's the better player right now, but with LeVert, you're dealing with a high upside young guy locked up for a couple more seasons. I've seen a lot of outlets labeling the Rockets as losers for their decision to focus on the future rather than the present, and I think this is absolutely ridiculous, and I don't even think it's right, given they went out and got Oladipo. I really think we've just gotten way too used to this crazy draft compensation we're seeing in these recent big trades. I really don't understand how you can look at everything and say the Rockets lost. Now, I am labeling them as winners, but I am cautious, considering we just don't know what these picks will end up becoming. Now, on the other end of this LeVert Oladipo situation, you've got the Indiana Pacers, and I think this move was solid for them. There's a real chance that Oladipo was going to leave next summer. So with the hopes they have of competing in the East with guys like Warren, Turner, and Sabonis, who's really in a breakout season, I think getting a 26-year-old wing who can create for himself is a smart move. LeVert still has 2 more years on his deal, getting roughly $18 million. The past 2 seasons, he's averaged 19 points, 4 rebounds, and 5 assists on okay efficiency. If Oladipo leaves, they get nothing. But getting LeVert not only brings them value right now, but also a possible trade piece at a later date. The last team involved in the trade is the Cleveland Cavaliers, who basically gave up a first-round pick this season from the Milwaukee Bucks and Dante Exum for Jared Allen and Taurean Prince. Now, I actually think this is a big win for the Cavaliers. Yeah, they gave up a first-round pick, but since it's Milwaukee's this season, that's expected to be in the late first. In return, you get a solid 3-and-D wing in Taurean Prince, an addition that is basically a throw-in, but I actually think can bring some value to this young team trying to get out of a rebuild as soon as possible. The main thing they got back is Jared Allen. Yeah, they have front court talent with guys like Kevin Love and Andre Drummond, but these two could very well be on their way out. Getting a defensive-minded center that fits the timeline of this team and shouldn't be getting too big of a deal this offseason, I think it'd be a game changer for this young roster that's really starting to secure their other positions. The last team I want to mention is the Oklahoma City Thunder. Last season, the Rockets traded for Russell Westbrook, and in the process, gave up their first-round picks in 2024 and 2026, and pick swaps in 2021 and 2025. Now, this is kind of confusing because these 2 pick swaps are also supposed to be pick swaps with the Nets, but in their favor. I'm thinking this means that the Thunder can convey their swap if they want to, and then the Rockets can convey theirs with the Nets, whether that's their own pick or the Oklahoma City Thunder's pick. That's what I'm thinking right now. Don't really have too much clarification though. Regardless, while I think the Rockets can be decent in the near future, Harden being gone definitely makes the Thunder's winners, as now it looks like they have much better odds at some better selections. But even with that said, it doesn't also look like the Thunder are going to be good anytime soon. So these pick swaps, including one this season, might not even be conveyed. But that's the video, guys. You guys tell me your thoughts in the comments below. If you liked the video, make sure you like and subscribe. And the shoutouts are gonna be Blue, Caden, Loki, Christopher, and Lewis. If you guys want to shout out in the next video, all you gotta do is like the video, comment liked, or rep notification squad, and I'll shout 5 you guys out. With all that being said, hope you guys have a great day, and peace.